The city of Irvine is one of the most successful master plan communities in the world. The success of Irvine is the direct result of careful city planning, a commitment to quality, and effective enforcement of development standards.
Development standards include zoning regulations and building codes. Local jurisdictions such as the City of Irvine adopt and enforce zoning regulations specific to their city.
When it comes to the building codes, the state of California mandates that local jurisdictions adopt state building codes. These codes cover plumbing, mechanical, electrical, and building standards and define when building permits are required.
When you walk into a building, it's generally taken for granted that the structure isn't going to fall down. You assume that the heating and air conditioning is safe, that the plumbing works properly and is supplied with clean water, and that the electrical wiring is safe and isn't going to catch on fire. One primary factor for meeting safety requirements is the construction under a building permit.
A building permit is authorization from the city to construct a building or addition or to install some building component that is regulated by code. For example, replacing a water heater or a furnace, or installing a new electrical circuit, or perhaps removing an interior wall.
Obtaining a building permit signifies that the proposed scope of work was reviewed by a qualified plan reviewer, typically a licensed engineer, who has independently determined that the proposed work conforms to codes adopted by the city.
All work constructed under the building permit must be inspected by a city building inspector at key points in the process.
There are a lot of steps taken to build a building. The plumbing, mechanical, electrical, all that goes into the building, and we inspect each step as it is installed and make sure that it is installed correctly.
And what happens if the work doesn't pass the inspection?
When we find violations, we bring them up to the superintendent who is on the job, who makes the inspections with us, and we write a correction notice, and so they have a list of the violations and they make the corrections, and then we return the next day and to make sure that the violations are being corrected.
There are several important reasons for wanting to get a building permit.
The most important reason for obtaining a building permit is to ensure safe buildings in our community. Obtaining a permit ensures building safety for both those who live and work in the buildings today, but also for those who will live and work in the buildings in our community in the future.
Permit is a legal requirement and must be obtained prior to performing most construction, replacement, or repair work that is regulated by city ordinance. Obtaining a permit before starting work avoids the risk of having to remove or rework parts of a construction project because the work was done incorrectly.
Permits may only be issued to licensed contractors and to building owners.
Homeowners need to be aware of unlicensed contractors who may try to convince them that a permit is not important or required. A renter or tenant cannot obtain a permit either. Also, the City of Irvine advises homeowners to get Homeowners Association approval whenever necessary before work commences.
Okay, so I'm a homeowner and I have plans to make simple modifications or remodel my house. But how do I get a building permit?
You would come down to the City of Irvine Civic Center located at Alton and Harvard and visit the Community Development Department on the first floor. You don't need to schedule an appointment, and we have a special counter set up to handle homeowner permits to ensure that your transaction is handled as quickly as possible.
Many homeowner permits may be issued over the counter during the first visit. Permits that fall in this one-step category are generally simple and limited in scope of work. For example, a new patio cover, replacing a water heater, furnace, or a roof.
For more complex projects, such as additions, plans are generally required to be prepared by a licensed architect or engineer. For these types of projects, several visits are required to have the plans reviewed and ultimately approved by the plan check engineer.
And what about the cost? Are building permits expensive to obtain?
Well, permit fees in Irvine are some of the lowest in the county. The price of obtaining a permit is generally a small part of the overall cost of the project, and it gives the homeowner peace of mind and security that the job is done to safety standards of the code.
As you can see, building permits are an important step along the way to ensuring that the built environment of the City of Irvine remains vibrant and safe.
The home you live in, the buildings you frequent as you go about your daily lives, are made safer because they were built and inspected under a building permit.
So remember, the next time you hire a contractor to remodel your home or have a furnace, water heater, or roof replaced, insist that a building permit's obtained. Obtaining a building permit is fast and easy and well worth the time and money. For more information about this important subject, please contact the Building and Safety Division at the City of Irvine by calling 949-724-6500 or log on to the city's website and link to the Community Development Department.